It's Wednesday, September 7th, 2022. A lot to talk about today. Let's recap what happened with the markets today. Markets across the board finish up. Dow Jones closed up 435 points. NASDAQ was up 246 points. 10-year bond yield came down to 3.26 last night at around midnight. It was 3.35. And as I was watching the markets late last night, Dow Jones and markets across the board were all in the red, futures. Dow Jones was down about 100. And here we are today. Markets rebound. Everything looks good. And why is that? Please comment down below. There's a lot of smart people out there, very intelligent people. Give me your thoughts on why the markets rebounded today. Now, the Fed Beige Book, we got that today, which is a Fed survey. And just to highlight some points from that, according to the Fed Beige Book, prices remain elevated. Real estate remains weak. Food, rent, utilities all rose. Outlook for future economic growth remains weak. This is according to the Fed Beige Book. This is a Fed survey. Outlook for future economic growth remains weak. Expectations of further softening for the next 6 to 12 months. So is that the good news that propelled the markets today? I don't know. Very interesting. Or is it that the markets are hoping that the Fed is going to pivot? Was it the plunge protection team? I mean, think about what's going on. We're watching the EU crumble at this point. Fed Chair Brainerd came out and emphasized that the Fed is going to keep raising rates. So what was the news that propelled these markets to close in the green today? Comment down below. But let's break this apart a little bit more. Fed Vice Chair Brainerd vows, we are in this for as long as it takes to stop inflation. This is very aggressive talk. She vowed today to press the fight against inflation. She said the Fed needs to remain vigilant. Now, I don't know why the markets would respond to that as good news. And why the Dow would be up over 400 points. So if you know, please comment down below. The only thing I see here is that these markets are hoping and believing that the Fed is going to pivot in the very, very near future. I don't see it happening, but who knows? Now, we got more news today. Homeowners lose wealth as rising interest rates weigh in on home values. Data suggests so-called tappable home equity may have peaked. No surprise, it has peaked. It's done. When you look at how many people got rich because the price of their home went up, without these homes now being ATMs for people because of the rising interest rates and the toll that it's going to take in the housing market. And people are losing wealth because when those prices come down, they don't have as much equity in the home, right? We're going to see equity disappear in a lot of this market. And people are not going to be rich without their home ATMs. How much of this economy was supported because of the housing market and people had access to the home ATM? They could pull a line of money out of these homes, using the home as an ATM, pulling out an equity line, doing cash out refi. And so they went out, took vacations, bought RVs, bought cars, bought cryptos, bought into the stock market. A lot of people pulled money out of their homes so they could invest in the stock market because they thought it was on sale. They were borrowing money out of the homes, buying dips way back. And these people are going to be in very, very big trouble now because that wealth is drying up. And if that wealth isn't available, people don't have money to buy the cryptos, to buy into the stock market, to buy the boats, the cars, the RVs, take the vacations. This is going to have a huge effect, huge impact on the U.S. economy without a doubt because the home ATM is shutting down. It's done. Google CEO says he hopes to make company 20% more efficient, hints at potential cuts. So is this more good news for the markets now? Google talking about layoffs. How big could those layoffs be? I don't know, but it's not good news. Article today from the Daily Mail. Working full-time no longer covers basics like rent, food, and childcare for more than a third of families, says study. Very interesting. Just to paraphrase a little bit in this article, 35% of working families right here in the U.S. cannot afford their household basics. And that's why we have so many people now dependent on these buy now, pay later plans and these short-term loans, credit cards. That's why we're seeing debt absolutely exploding. This is just now beginning to be a problem for millions of people, and it's going to become a bigger problem for millions more. And this is going to have a catastrophic effect on the U.S. economy and the standard of living for millions of people. Combined cost of groceries, medical care, transport, and childcare are out of reach for many. They're talking about people in this article working 40 hours per week, and it isn't enough. Some people with a household income of $130,000 are having a hard time paying their bills because the cost of everything is going up. And remember, the savings rate now is around 5%. People are not saving money. Their wages are getting eaten up by inflation. Cost of everything going up. People just can't catch a break. And we've had millions of people who literally just took a year of doing nothing, didn't go to work, didn't pay their rent, didn't pay their mortgages, went out and bought things they didn't need, took lots of pictures to post on social media of their vacations, their new cars, their steak dinners, their fancy cocktails. And now they've been laid off, or now their stock portfolios have been slashed, their 401ks have been slashed, their savings has been slashed, and they're in big trouble. They really are. And this is going to get much worse. And, you know, I continue to make these videos and I continue to share the daily news, because when you read this news and you connect the dots and you decipher through the data, you really begin to wake up and you're aware of just how bad this is and how much worse it's going to get, because people didn't take the last couple years to prepare. No, the last couple years, people just went out and spent money, racked up credit card debt, student loan debt, auto debt, not a care in the world. And then they were told not to go to work, didn't have to pay their rent, didn't have to pay their mortgage. And so it was just a big party, and people didn't see the danger that would become of this, what the aftermath would be, the fragmentation, the blowback. You cannot print $6 trillion plus in 2 years and tell people not to go to work and not think that there's going to be some kind of fragmentation taking place. And here we have it. People are broke. They don't have savings. Their wages are not keeping up with the cost of inflation. And people are not prepared for what is happening. They're literally now just trying to keep their heads above water. They have no plan, no emergency plan, no savings. And this is why I'm really, really concerned about how all of this ends, because when you have millions of people who are not prepared for a downturn like the one we're going to see and have just went on a spending spree over the last couple years, this is going to be catastrophic without a doubt. The hedge, sell my car search trends explode 222% to all-time high in September. This is because people need money. They're going to be unloading the toys, the cars, the RVs, the boats, the Rolex watches, the diamond rings, you name it, anything they can sell. A buddy of mine who manages a pawn shop told me people are selling everything. They've never seen it so busy. But that search term, sell my car, how to sell my term, these searches are up 222% to an all-time high in September. The top 10 states with the most search data on selling cars: Michigan, number 1, Arizona, 2, California, 3. We've got Nevada at number 4, South Carolina at 5, Oklahoma at 6, Florida 7, Ohio 8, Texas 9, and Colorado 10. What's interesting is if you look at these states, some of these states are the states that had the hottest housing booms in America. And now people are searching the internet on how to sell their cars. I wonder how many people are also searching on how to sell their boats, their RVs, and their Rolex watches. But very interesting to see this trend. This is why I've said over the last year or two, the kind of sales we're going to be seeing in America, everything's going to be for sale. Because when the everything bubble blows up, everything goes on sale. And this is why it's imperative that you have that cash reserve, why you have your debts paid off or paid down, why you have good credit, so that you can take advantage of the discounts that are coming. This is going to be incredible a year from now, what we're going to see for sale, the discounts, and especially in the housing market. Wolfstreet.com, the holy moly mortgage is back. The holy moly mortgage is back. What do they mean by that? This was a good article on wolfstreet.com. If you get a minute, check it out. Yesterday, the 30-year fixed rate on a mortgage was 6.28%. Today, it's 6.11%. That's the average rate. And they call it the holy moly mortgage is because when people go, well, you know, how much is it going to cost to finance that house? And your lender says 6.11% on a 30-year. People go, holy moly, I can't do that. Who can do that now? Think about that. The average person now is going to pay over 6% on a 30-year. This is going to absolutely strangle the housing market, real estate. We are going to see the slowdown continue to get very, very slow. Another article on the economic collapse, and it gives the 33 signs of food shortages. I'm not going to go over this whole article, but I picked out a few highlights here. And this is a reminder to all of us to continue to be putting some food away, to putting the water away, to putting medical kits away, putting batteries away, extra shoes, extra clothes, extra candles, extra matches, extra firewood, etc. But you're going to need food to survive. And everything that's happening with the droughts, the power outages, the blackouts, the economy, the threat of grids going down, you must have food and water stored away. But I just want to share some of the highlights of this article. Wheat crop in the U.S. will be the smallest since 1963. Now, in 1963, the U.S. population was 182 million. Today, in 2022, it's 329 million. Rice harvest in California will be half of what it would be in a normal year. U.S. tomato harvest will come in at 10.5 million tons. That's over 1 million tons lower than normal. This will be the worst U.S. corn harvest in at least a decade. Year-to-date shipments of carrots in the U.S. are down 45%. I like juice carrots. And we try to have juice carrots a few times a week. Very important to me. But look at that number. Year-to-date shipments of carrots in the U.S. are down 45%. Year-to-date shipments of sweet corn in the U.S. down 20%. Year-to-date shipments of sweet potatoes in the U.S. down 13%. Year-to-date shipment of celery down 11%. Total U.S. peach production down 15% from a year ago. Total number of cattle in Oregon down 41%. Texas cattle population is down 50%. 40% of the U.S. Has been suffering from drought. I just talked to my buddy Aaron in Texas yesterday. His pond on his ranch is down probably at least 3 feet. They are hoping and praying for rain. The price of some fertilizers have tripled and even have quadrupled. Now, that means the price of all this food is going to go up because there's less of it, and the cost of fertilizer tripling and quadrupling is going to push the price of food up. A payment company said the number of Americans using their app to take out short-term loans for groceries has risen by 95%. Not a good sign. Demand at U.S. food banks is getting worse by the day. According to the World Food Program, 828 million people around the world go to bed hungry each night, and this number is growing every day. If I can say one thing today to everyone, do not waste food. I'll tell you, there's nothing that irritates me more than when I see people wasting food. There is such a shortage of food. We have nearly we have nearly 1 billion people, nearly 1 billion people on this planet go to bed hungry. 828 million and growing. That number is going to grow to over 1 billion people going to bed hungry. You are so blessed if you ate today, if you had running water, if you could drink clean water, you're blessed. But again, anybody wasting food out there, what a sin. If you have kids and they're not finishing their food, what a sin. Nobody, at least in my family when I was a kid, you didn't leave the table till you cleaned your plate. You know, when you take the life of an animal, to leave that meat or that pork or that chicken or that fish on a plate after an animal died for that food, and you just leave it and waste, what a disrespect to the animal. I just cannot do that, and I really lose a lot of respect for people who just think that it's okay to waste that food, that it's okay that an animal sacrificed its life so that we could continue ours and eat and get the nutrition out of that food. And just to waste it is just so disrespectful to the animal and to life. It really is. So don't waste food. Just absolutely horrible when I see people do that. And you've all been to a restaurant or you've been to a buffet and you see these people holding 3 plates and, they think the food's going to get away if they don't, go up to the buffet and take as much as they can, and then they waste half the food. Same thing with the vegetables and the fruits, just to waste it. All the time and energy that went into producing that food, whether it's an animal or a fruit or a vegetable, and just to waste it is just such a sin. And knowing that nearly 1 billion people are going to bed hungry, and you just take food and throw it in the trash, at least go give it to some homeless people or go feed some animals with it. But to know that nearly 1 billion people are suffering, and we just throw food away like it's nothing. Such a sin, ladies and gentlemen. So I try to stay very aware and conscious of that when I'm eating. Like, don't take more than you're going to eat. And you know what? Even if I'm a little full and there's food, I'm going to finish it. I am not letting it go to waste, because when I read stuff like this, I appreciate what I have, and I have an understanding of what's going on. And I'll tell you, one of the worst things in life would be going hungry, starving to death, going to bed hungry. So we are all blessed. If you're watching this video and you're eating today and you have running water and you have a roof over your head, God bless you. You are so blessed. Make sure you get on your hands and knees tonight. Thank God that you're eating, you have a roof over your head, because most of this world is not eating or getting enough nutrition or has clean drinking water like we do. And we're so blessed. We take so much for granted. We take way too much for granted, ladies and gentlemen. We've had it really good for a very, very long time in America. And if this continues, we're going to see people, and we're already seeing people in this country. I believe 40 million people in America are not getting enough food. And if you look at the homeless crisis and the 10 cities across America, there's a lot of people going hungry. So you have it a lot better than a lot of people do. So I just wanted to recap on what happened today. And please feel free to comment down below. Love to know your thoughts. Why did the markets rebound today on all this bad news? Was it the plunge protection team? Is it hope? Is it the hope that the Fed is going to pivot here shortly? But I see a 75 basis point rate hike coming in a couple weeks. Very interesting. There is just no fundamentals now. So much volatility in these markets. They're so unpredictable. And what happens tomorrow, nobody knows. The bad news is good news, and the good news is good news, I guess. It's just very, very odd how these markets are reacting to this kind of news. But is it hope, or is it more than that? Is the Fed coming in here? What about the 10-year? 3.35 last night, and now we're at 3.26 today. Who's buying up these bonds? Comment down below. Let me know your thoughts. I'm going to leave it there today. Please make sure to share this video, give it a thumbs up, and make sure you subscribe. Have a great day. I look forward to speaking with all of you very, very soon.